queer as a way of thinking that exists alongside, but not. Queer becomes a potent symbol succeed in replacing one set of categories with yet another in the field, which are historical, well-tested, and, quote, by all means break the rules and break them beautifully, deliberately, and well, end quote. In order to discuss what aspects of the typographic canon might be described as queer in the sense of classification systems outside context, limits how we can masculine and other human qualities to translation of text, the options such as turning the body of the text, which has criticality, non-categorical
English has been used as a primary language in India, not only for communication but also for educational purposes. So, given it's a very vernacularly diverse country, it is necessary for children, apart from their communication level, to actually read the text in their school textbooks, to understand what the content is, and then to, even if they need to pass their exams, and then to move further grades into their graduation, all the way to, further in their life, they need to understand what the context is. So, our primary focus is between the age of 3 to 7 years. And so, I'd taken this sample school called Eureka School, where we primarily function and our materials are being tested for content and for design purpose. So at Eureka School, I had asked kindergarten students to, between 0 to 5, I've asked them to give marks. I've asked them to grade based on their likes and dislikes. So I've asked them about cognitive games, which involves alphabet puzzles, building blocks. So I've asked the teaching students. Is quite production intro about English learning. Quite, because normally they don't. So there are graded levels that we follow. So from level 1 to level 3, that's for kindergarten, and level 4 to level 7, level 4 to level 6 is for first grade, and 7 to 8 is second grade. So with all these 8 levels from kindergarten to second grade is whom we have finally decided are going to be our beginning readers, because this is where children, they are not exposed to English as a primary language within their families. Well, most of the urban sector is, but then when we take towards the village, English is not their primary language of communication at home. It's only a language that they are exposed to in schools, which is insufficient when they have to move to further subjects which have complex English words that are used, especially with science and mathematics. So not only that we look forward to make them understand English as a language, but also as an education material, because they need to understand what they are studying. So for beginning readers, we analyzed from first to second grade, what are the materials that are available in the market that are being used by schools. So the Tamil Nadu Education Department, public schools, are the most prevalent scope of education based on Samachya Kalvi. Samachya Kalvi means equitable education system. So the Tamil Nadu government had introduced this system of education so that it paves way for quality education to all children without any discrimination based on their socio-economic background, starting from class 1 to class 12. But they do not have a preschool system. So kindergarten, so children who begin their education at the public schools, they immediately begin with the first grade, and they are asked to read short poems and short stories at the very moment. The moment when they step out of their house and they into schools, they have to read short paragraphs, and as a language they find it difficult to cope up with, for which there was a Balwadi system introduced. Balwadi is a preschool run for economically weaker sections of the society, either by the government or NGOs. But again, the Balwadi is more like a daycare system rather than a bridge between kindergarten and first standard. So these are the other publishers who are there in the market and whose books are being used as a bridge between kindergarten and first standard. There's Kumon and Oxford. And these are materials of English learning foundations that we had developed for primary, for bridging the gap between kindergarten and first grade academics. So as we all can see, the overall layout has been kept quite free. The fonts are very clear and there are enough space for children to write and look around, because children tend to have little clumsy hands and they need lots of space to write. So even at ELF, like after observing all this, we also decided yes, we need to keep them a lot more spacious so they can easily write. Because as I said, English is not a primary language at home, so they need visual clarity for them to see what they're reading. So based on all this, some of the key observations that we made were, irrespective of what fonts that had been used in their books, there were common character identification and differentiation issues. Like with LT, ILL, LTL, so it's a combination of serif, sans serif, and this rounded edge font. So with ILL, when we presented this flashcards, children would identify it as triple L. And same thing with LTL, again they would read it as triple L. And with BTD, they were not able to say BTD. They would either say BTB, or they would probably go it in reverse, or T was identified as L. So these certain character issues were there. And serif fonts were easier to read and identify rather than, sans serif fonts were easier to read and identify than serif fonts. And according to Tinker, uppercase letters are more readable than lowercase letters when presented individually. And ligature was another, the word, the alphabet is. All text with minimal space. Readability issue that was also to teach them alphabets. So they are writing the same characters that they see which is being printed. So as you all can see, right, like this is on the on this side is cursive writing, and there's a handwriting of a child. So given the way it was easier for them to copy and write. So based on all this, so we further went on to study and see which font characteristics would actually help us better, so that we can improvise on how to present printed materials for children. So we took serif and sans serif, because though it was clearly evident based on many researchers' observations, and also Eureka School had started since 2006, and from 2006 onwards, content developers and teachers there, so on constant conversation with them, it was pretty evident that actually sans serif font is more legible for children at the beginning level than serif font. So we had with the selective characteristics of fonts, we tested it with children. And so based on that, we had presented these flashcards of sans serif. Oh, I'm sorry. The Q alphabet has changed here. So the first Q that we had presented is the same Q as in the last flashcard, because we had realized that the Q in the last flashcard, so that's the kind of Q that the teacher writes it on board for children to look at the board and copy into their notebooks. So when we presented P and Q side by side, when we presented this flashcard, they would read it as P and as P and P, or they would take it from my hand, reverse it and read it as B and D. And same thing with T and F, it was identified as either T and T or F and F. But at the bottom with A, E, C, the characters were very clear. They were able to immediately spontaneously identify and read it as A, E, C. Again with CAT, the font has changed. So Well, so that was again another font which we tested, which had like legibility issues. Then we tested with the last flashcards with GPQ. So we tested with random characters and with words that they were familiar with to see whether the legibility issue is because of random characters or is because of the familiarity of words. But meanwhile, while we were testing and observing all this, another major issue was improper print production. But that also led to a lot of legibility and readability issues. So this is a first grade page from the Samachya Kalvi textbook.
Anita, will you hurry up?
Speed up?
15 minutes, yeah.
Okay. So here what we can see is that this is from the first grade textbooks. Like I was saying, Samachya Kalvi begins from first grade. They don't have kindergarten. So when a child skips kindergarten and is directly made to like read first standard textbooks, within the speech bubble, the point size is as small as 3-point size, which is very difficult for them to read, identify, and actually answer to the questions that come later for them. And also the legibility is very low because of the poor print quality that is also there. So based on all this, we had like kept our workbooks that we designed as free as possible and with minimal colors, because here once they finish the activity, the teacher gives them time to actually color in, so that not only like it improves on their readability also, but also like on their creative skills too. And we had made it a point that the font sizes will not be lesser than 10 point. But then again, with Comic Sans, because Samachya Kalvi uses Comic Sans, and as a visual bridge at ELF books, we also adopted Comic Sans. But there was a main problem was that the upside down issue, because when the teacher is trying to teach the student one-on-one using flashcards to read words phonetically, in case if the flashcard is accidentally upside down or the student is reading it upside down, they would read POP as DOD. Or they had dyslexic problem, they would read it as BOB, as Bob. So these were certain issues that we had identified that because these children do not know English, so they need visual clarity and clear distinction between alphabets. Because the use of font approximate to how children learn to write. And so, like we said, uppercase letters when produced individually are more readable than lowercase. But what was that at schools, the teacher teaches him to write alphabet G in that black form which is there. The red form is the print form of G. And similarly, we had modified I also, because again when words like Jill, like there is a line which says like Jill likes a cup of tea, they would read Jill as ill or as ILL. They would mispronounce. So to define that is our so we made and on DVDs to test and see how children that beginning readers are very quick and sensitive, so it's easy for children to.
May I call?
Hello. Hello. My name is Rikke Hansen. My paper title is about learning to be an experiment. Presented in this paper actually had their starting point some years ago. Sketch in materials. Over the past years, recognized that the best time to, which your examples from over two and actions, how they could mix, stretch, exaggerate it. The students were that example.
By our discussion about
Certificates. Okay, thank you, Professor. Remind you about and diversity. Sri School of Design, Bangalore, India. She will also be joined with Brian Kwok, Manasi Shekhar, and Kalpesh Gosavi. Please, if you can please come up on stage. Professor Kumkum Nadik, over to you.
Is this good? Yes. Sorry, I'll begin again. Good afternoon, everyone. We begin the session 2. We have 3 speakers, Brian Kwok, Mansi Kenny, and Kalpesh Gosavi. I invite Brian Kwok to begin his session. Brian Kwok is from the School of Design, Hong Kong Polytechnic University in Hong Kong.
Hi, morning. I'm so honored to be here to share my projects, talking about the Leon sign. As probably you may know that Hong Kong is a city labeled the Pearl of the Orient and reflect a spectacular light view of Leon sign. And before that, the rise of the television broadcasting, Leon sign were one of the most pervasive form of media, helping all kinds of business communicate with consuming publics. So in the past decade, however, with the removal of abandoned Leon sign from Hong Kong streets, the numbers has, however, dramatically declined. So if you take a look at this image, it gives you some idea what Hong Kong street look like. Of course, this is kind of exaggerated. I kind of like this image because the photographer tried to extract the whole meaning of the Leonscape in Hong Kong. So actually, it gives you a kind of idea. You may imagine that a lot of Leon signs, they are kind of flashing into your eyes when you walk down in the street. So, as I mentioned before, actually a lot of Leon were removed because one of the incident has happened. One of the sign fall down and hit the people. So it triggered Hong Kong government want to control, especially for the unauthorized sign, which is oversized, and they were abandoned, so that a lack of maintenance, some of the old sign will fall down, and it generate risk to the people. And another reason why the Leon signs has been eventually declined. One of the issues is the rise of the LED lights. So a lot of shop owners nowadays, they try to convert or change the neon to LED because one of the reasons is they are durable and they are cheap. So it makes the neon sign, this kind of media has become very fast. So when I look back and search some result, actually the Hong Kong government nowadays, they try to remove every year 1,600 sign has been removed per year. So there's almost 120,000 unauthorized sign has been gone very soon. So this project actually, I would like to, from a different angle, to try to photo document all the existing neon, because what we see that the neon actually become a media to describe our city, because it includes typography, the visual images, all this kind of thing has not been describing our city and our business and our, all the history of Hong Kong. So we like to protect from a different way instead of just, let them demolish or let them vanish. So I think for us, this project is very important because we would like not just fulfill the logistic emotion, but we would like to kind of keep them and then try to study them and how they really describe our city. So the project actually we look for 5 districts in Kowloon Peninsula. So we already taken 400 neon signs. So you can see through this map, we try to Google Map to identify the exact location of neon sign, because it's really hard for us to walk every single street to look for the neon sign. So first, at the beginning of the project, we like to identify the exact location in the map. And then our team actually would like to went there and then take a picture in daytime and nighttime, because as you know that the neon sign actually express a different color in different in daytime and nighttime. So and then we try to record them, say for instance, what exactly the neon attached on the building, and what exactly the sign located in a different corner in the street. So we would like to not just photo document it, but we also try to record a detailed information of every single neon. So because there's cover a lot of neon sign, so for this presentation, I just kind of highlight food and restaurant neon sign from 5 districts. So you can see we find that 10 Chinese typography in 96 restaurant signs. And we find that 6 for script style and 3 for sans serif and 1 for serif fonts. So we find that 42 out of 96 food and restaurant side are kaishu. And you can see from the data, 18 kaishu actually were used in Cantonese restaurant, and 10 for Cha Chan Ten. Cha Chan Ten means that a Hong Kong style cafe. And Li Su comes next, the second, commonly used in Hong Kong restaurant. 13 out of 96 restaurant were used Lai Su. And 5 for Cantonese restaurant, and 5 for others, and 1 for Cha Chan Teng. And the third commonly used Chinese typography is Bi Wei. And you can see 7 Bei Wei for Cha Chan Teng. So these are the common data. We find out that 3 common Chinese typography are used for most of the Chinese food and restaurant sign. So when we come to take a closer look to every single Chinese typography, I mean 3 common Chinese typography, they have different features. For instance, on the right-hand side, which is Bi Wei, you can tell the horizontal stroke and vertical stroke, they have not very high contrast thickness. And the end on the beginning, they emphasize much. So you can see it's very good for the Leon sign or sign. And in the middle, actually, is a Li Shu. You can see they have a different characteristic. And especially for the middle one, Li Shu, when the brush, the calligrapher, they wrote this kind of Chinese typography. The brush touch on the paper, they will kind of use the revised motion. So they are just not follow as a click. They touch on the paper first for a moment and then reverse a bit to create a bulge end, a bulge start. So this kind of thing that is, they present a different characteristic on different Chinese characters. So one of the, this is quite famous Chinese calligraphers, Hua Guo. He is one of the few street-fold calligraphers. So he said that Kai Xu actually convey the honesty and reliable. That's why a restaurant prefer like this Chinese typography. And Li Shu, he said that convey a feeling of respect and dignity. So when he was asked to do that, and from the shop owner, he preferred to Li Shu for the education institutions. And Bi Wei, he claimed that because Bi Wei convey the expression of credibility and trustworthy, so he preferred when the shop, like traditional Chinese medicine shop or Cha Chan Teng, he preferred to write this kind of style. And the other quite interesting things I find that is variant Chinese characters. So on the left-hand side, actually, is digital fonts. But for the right-hand side, 4 of them, I find that is the same meaning of the character, but they present or express it in a different way. So it tells that it will be a very interesting finding, because when calligrapher, they base on their style, they present the same character in a different way. So you can see from the bottom left, bottom right here, so they have a different presentations. So when we look at all this kind of Leon sign attached to the building, and Keith Tam actually, according to Keith Tam typology about the Leon sign, and he suggests 12 different types of Leon sign. But I'm going to focus in this presentation for 2 because of time limited. So the first one I'm going to share the projecting columnar, and the other one is projecting banner, because both of them are quite commonly used in Hong Kong, attached in the building. So the first one, projecting columnar, is quite, as I said, is quite common. When you were in Hong Kong in the street, you find a lot of vertical orientation neon sign attached to the building. So, and you can see the first character, first for this example, for the first two character is describe the name of the shop, and the last three character is mean the type of business. So the middle one, the blue square one actually is a subsidiary information. Usually they use this kind of small typeface for selling what they offer the food. So of course they also serve a different purpose, because when the people walk in the street, they look for the signage from a distance. Okay, so the shop owner would like to project a different size of fonts for different viewing distance. So as you can see, most of the neon sign actually on the right-hand side. And because when people approach the sign, people prefer to look at close to the information close to them. That's why the shop owner would put a lot of kind of subsidiary information in the bottom part. So here's some example. This is on the left-hand side is Marja Palace. The middle one is Marja Palace 2. The right one is guest house. So you can see a different form, different style in a neon sign. So at light. So this sign will give you a better idea how people approach the neon sign. And the second one is projecting banner. Quite similar.
Brian,
Okay.
there's 1 minute left.
Oh, okay. So project banner quite similar to the projecting columns, but of course the orientation is quite different. So here's the examples. And also they would like to attach the icon onto to the signage to tell the audience what food they specialize. So in this case, Vietnamese restaurant foods. That one, shining diamond, means that they are selling the diamond, seafood. Okay. So I have to move fast. Okay. So you can see there's when we study all of this neon sign, actually they render different things. So different stroke, like single stroke, outline strokes, single inline, and so on and so forth. So this kind of things actually serve a different viewing distance. Okay. So this one is I studied how the neon maker, how do they make one character, which is quite difficult because as you see on the left hand side, if do the brush, so you have to separate line stroke, but the neon maker have to use one line of neon to bend it and turn it to make it continue stroke, and then later they have to make the black paint to make them separate. So this kind of trick we're going to study. So I think I have no time to tell all the things, but I'm happy to share my project to you at this moment. But at the end, because this is ongoing project, we still document all the neon, and we would like to go further to study all the typography on neon sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We will keep the questions for Brian at the end of the session. I now invite Mansi Kenny, professor from Rachna Sansat College of Applied Art and Craft in Bombay, India.
Hi everyone, this is Manasi Keni from Rachna Sansad College of Applied Art and Craft, Mumbai, India. I'm really glad to be here and a very good afternoon to all. The topic of today's presentation is Unity in Diversity Can Lead to Dynamic Layouts. This paper will briefly discuss the opportunities diversity offers in layout to the students of design who are used to do static layouts. The students take references for their design and wonder how to come up with dynamic layouts. There are millions of ways to do a design layout. This paper explores one way to do that. Also, this paper attempts to peep in the past to understand the influence of postmodernism on typography. Typography is the art and craft of giving language a durable form. It has a dual responsibility to document knowledge or data and to create a visual experience. As a craft, typography is concerned with writing and editing on one side and with graphic design on the other, yet typography itself belongs to neither. It has its own existence. From the time Gutenberg invented movable type in the 14th century, typography did change a lot, but the expressive part of it was not really touched. Primarily because it was a painful process to change the layout which was already set. The first 2 decades of the 20th century were a time of drastic change that radically altered every aspect of human lives. This happened because of the technological, scientific advancements and industrialization. Visual art and design was also influenced by this and a series of creative revolutions that questioned its values, traditional approaches to organize space, and their role in the society. Modern art movements like Futurism, Dadaism, De-Still, Cubism, Surrealism, Expressionism, etc. influenced the graphic language of visual communication, and some of them had a deep impact on typography, which changed the way people saw type. They gave a whole new vision to the subject. New Wave focused on the playfulness of type rather than the grid. The New Wave typographers opened the doors for future generations' exploration in graphic design. These Swiss punks and rebels created a new kind of form and function while introducing a more intuitive and emotional response to design and layout. The New Wave strived to challenge the international style which had become so clean and simple that many believed it to lack the personality of the designer. Now, the assignment discussed here was conducted in the final year BFA Applied Art of the year 2016 with 14 elective typography students. Exploring New Wave typography was a key factor of this assignment. The assignment was carried out in 2 stages, which were a surprise to them. 2 different short stories were used to design 2 layouts. These stories, though simple, yet were multi-layered and difficult to decipher. Story number 1 goes like, 2 monks were arguing over the temple flag waving in the wind. One said, the flag moves. The other said, the wind moves. They argued back and forth but could not agree. The master said, gentlemen, it is not the flag that moves, it is not the wind that moves, it is your mind that moves. The 2 monks were stuck with awe. The second story is, a man walking across a field encounters a tiger. He fled the tiger chasing after him. Coming to a cliff, he caught hold of a wild vine and swung himself over the edge. The tiger sniffed at him from above. Terrified, the man looked down to where, far below, another tiger had come, waiting to eat him. 2 mice, one white and one black, little by little began to gnaw away the vine. The man saw a luscious strawberry near him. Grasping the vine in one hand, he plucked the strawberry with the other. How sweet it tasted. The typesetting software is capable of distorting letters in many different ways, like condensing, expanding, outlining, shadowing, sloping, and so on. But this editing causes change in the character of a letter and damages the integrity of the letter spaces. It can also reduce legibility by creating a non-serious effect. Digital revolution can be a typographic nightmare if one uses the software without any understanding of typography or not being sensitive enough towards letters. It shows a bad taste of typography too. There were some constraints which were put on the students to refrain them from doing mediocre layouts. They were asked to do intuitive layout, which means not to take the ready-made effects any software would provide. They had to do pencil scribbles of the first 2 layouts before anything. They were asked to look at letters as forms. Legibility was not constrained. Strictly typography was used. No lettering was allowed. The students came out with very dynamic and bold layouts. These are the pencil scribbles. This is layout for story number 1. This is for story number 2. The letters are forms first before they have meaning. But before this reality is forgotten, but often this reality is forgotten because one concentrates more on the meaning. Once the legibility part became unimportant, the students started to look at letters as pure form, which is very beautiful and balanced. Space becomes a live participant and creates magnetism. The composition leads the reader's eye towards various parts of the page in a harmonious journey. The negative space played a key role in the journey. The limit of fonts created a sophisticated look for the composition. A good understanding of typography helps the designer to choose the appropriate typeface with which he can express and communicate any message. Each typeface has its own aesthetic, expressive qualities which makes the character of the font. A well-combined variety of typeface, other elements and space bring variations of expression and harmony in the design. Once the designer's eye is trained to identify balance in a layout, he can use this ability to do dynamic layouts forever. To create a bold design, the designer has to wisely allot areas of contrast and should select appropriate typeface. One has to make typography legible in order to make it durable and effective. Since typography is concerned with words and its content, it has to be legible. But another thing that is something more than legibility and gives space or the page its living energy is the gut feeling of the designer, which allows him to do intuitive design. This feeling can take various forms and names like calmness, liveliness, grace, or delight. This assignment was conceived to experiment in if two layouts can be combined to produce one meaningful layout. Now they were asked to combine both the layouts and design one third layout, which was an independent layout and which would create a visual experience for any spectator. Since the students used computer to do this exercise, they were asked to do at least 10 different layouts. These are some examples. This is the class discussion. The students learn that two diverse things can combine together will definitely give a third form which is independent of its meaning and can create an expression to influence the viewer in a positive way. Diversity is very important as it gives one a solution that is very fresh. It can also open one's mind to new ideas which will in turn initiate new events of thought process. Interconnectedness in forms makes diversity more relevant than ever in design. Visual impact is the most basic requirement for getting attention. The grammar of style is something which is always changing. Today, typography is a vital element in making print or electronic communications effective and more efficient. The conclusions? One may keep wondering, what is the purpose of breaking the grid, playing with the form aspect of letters and distorting letters rather than making it legible? While doing this exercise in class, what everyone figured out was they loved being a rebel by breaking the laws. It was truly fascinating to observe that the various forms of letters combined together to make a kinetic layout. While the casual observer would see an interesting clutter of letters, the one who understands design would see balance and harmony in the layout. It is the diversity of two different layouts combined in one gives the third layout its dynamic flexibility. Postmodernism was all about breaking the rules because the majority of rules set by modernism were refused. One example is the case of the rigid grids. Grid was sacred for modernism. The modernists believed working with the grid system means submitting to the laws of universal validity. The aim was to achieve the architectural domination over surface and space and simplicity. Grids do save time and energy and they almost never fail, but designers become a mere vehicle for communication. True structured design is not necessary to build a good communication. Aesthetic is the way we communicate through the senses. It's more of emotional than there cannot be a universal good taste. Everyone likes or dislikes something based on their prior knowledge of things and their culture. Since we are a global culture now, we must try new ways of exploring typography and layout. In order to be successful, typography has to engage, involve, and entertain readers. It has to free the reader to playful aspect of type and let them enjoy the process of unfolding meaning. Form contributes to activate readers' emotionality, and end result is a great combination of engaging readers' mind and emotion. I would like to share one example with you. Now, this is the final year student this year. Inspired by this assignment, she created her final project based on this assignment. Also won an award. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mansi. I really appreciate you adhering to the time limit. I now invite Professor Kalpesh Gosavi from Art and Design Department at the Sophia Polytechnic in Bombay, India.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Kalpesh Gusra. I'm a student of Sir JJ Institute of Applied Art and now working as a faculty member at Sophia Polytechnic. Well, I'll directly take you towards the subject, which is a diversified language of tools. Mainly I'll explain you the concept behind the title, that diversified language of tool is basically the approach which students can gain from the tool practice in a much diversified way. Because I feel that the tool is something, it's an object which can create a diversified impact in front of students whenever a student uses or can use tools in a particular way. Okay, there are various tools around us and we all know that tool in another way an extension of hands, artist hands, calligrapher's hands, which needs to be get some sort of manipulation, some sort of sensories and some sort of techniques while using them. So, and considering calligraphy practice, that tool is an important factor that needs to be understood in a particular way so that students can be well versed while using them properly. So there are various tools around us and students are basically get amazed with a lot of varieties and hierarchies they get in the tools, and even I was one of them when I was learning and studying right from my second, third year as a typography specialization. So I got introduced with these many tools right from my third year elective subjects, and even I came to know that there are tools which give some different impacts as while you start using them. I would like to share one experience. When I was in third year elective, I got to introduce with one of the research thesis my sir, Professor Santoshi Sagar has made. It was mainly on the basis of tools in experimentation with different mediums and surfaces. He has done the same thesis under the guidance of late Professor R.K. Joshi, and which was for me in a particular sense it got appeared to me as a very right kind of a methodology and as a very right kind of a documentation and compilation, which has made me think about tool is something, if we will take it seriously while standing as a calligrapher or while being as a calligraphy practitioner, it will mold me in a particular way, and I will not only be using a calligraphy tools while creating several different calligraphic applications, but it will even create some logical reasoning within my mind that I'm using this particular tool and this has to be taken in this particular way, so that there always will be a logic while using the tool. And I think that is really important as a student and as a teacher also, to import some logical understanding and reasoning within students' mind while making them understand the tool's functionality in a particular way. So we observe that whenever we get some tools in a market, that it always comes with some pocket or some manuals that they introduces that this is the tools and this will create some lines. You can see the slide down there, that it definitely introduces you that this is the tool which will give you the dual lines or the lines in a particular way, or even the right hand slide that it introduces that if you will use this particular tool, it will give you this particular expression. So on a primary level, student always seeks and try to get these expressions where what they see on the packet or what they see on the manual particularly, but tool has something more than that. If it will be used in a particular way, methodical way. These are the different tools, and just because there are a lot of variety available in market and even calligraphers are making their own tools, students whenever they start working on, pick up any tool and they randomly start working on surfaces. When we'll see, there are several demonstrators, calligraphy demonstrations, when they are working, it was my own experience that whenever we see a particular demonstration, when that particular demonstrator is giving some calligraphy demonstration, I think it's the ability of particular students and individual students, whenever we try to see how demonstrator is working, I think it is his or her own skill that we see while seeing a particular demonstration, but the ability of grasping in what way that particular demonstrator is creating a difference within the letter form through a particular tool manipulation is, I think, a more important. And it always differs from student to students, and because of this particular fact, even students fall limited in taking or grasping a particular way of converting a tool to create a letter form or manipulating a tool to create a letter form, because of also the students seek some sort of methodology or a hierarchy. These are the tools. Can get different textures through tools, and because of that sometimes calligraphy looks beautiful but it doesn't provide a logical understanding to students' mind, even if it come out as a beautiful ornamental art piece. Similar way. Okay, right from Arthur Baker's to Herman Zaff, when I have seen and when I have read their and checked their books, it came out as a realization that even if I used to see the entire alphabets, character family, it was somewhere lacking, to be very honest, it was somewhere lacking with the methodology that how systematically they are improvising the letter form. And when I see the character set, I always try to seek that how they have particularly came out with this particular creation of letter form. So I personally used to draw the letter form by understanding in my mind, by taking the understanding in my mind that this is the way I need to mark my tool or render my tool. So even somewhere this is the limitation that we always come out with, that every book or every catalog that we see and check doesn't provide a methodology in detail. It directly provides the art forms. Okay, so these are the observation problems and difficulties. These are the some examples on primary level, that just because student doesn't have a particular awareness about the tools, they directly take a tool in their hand and they start on application, making an application of tools, and because of that some poor understanding or poor logical reasoning comes out, and we definitely can see the poor logical reasonings or the poor understanding in artworks, imbalanced work, imbalanced letter structures and all. So by creating this particular stuff in mind, we arranged this particular upstroke workshop considering visual art and design students. The workshop has started with the drill lesson to give a hand-on experience to each and every students in order to make them, to give them understanding, some sort of understanding about in what way they can function the tools properly. So they had created these particular patterns in order to understand how tools can be functioned well in a diversified way. I will go details fast, there are much more slides. Some of the practical queries from students' point of view, that other than the conventional practice, they tends to be very much limited while creating difference in letter forms. They just be limited with the letter form creation in an innovative way. So these were the important step I had introduced to students, that the workshop was mainly in a focus, particularly with a metal tool, in order to narrow it down, and by considering the Devanagari script, which was easy for each and every student. So these was several ways that we can introduce them, that these are the ways you can hold the tool specifically, that just holding the tip, down tip, holding the finger patch where we generally take the fingers, holding the lower bottom of the tool, middle patch, upper head, holding the touch fingers, so it evenly applies the pressure while applying your tool, parallel fingers holding with perpendicular fingers and collaborated fingers. So every now and then if you will change the tool, it will create a different pressure on the tool's body, entire body and the tool's tip, and it will definitely in some or the other way will make you think about the tool is getting or creating a different diverse language in front of me. These are some experiences, smoothing of tools, when you will just mark a tool with a smooth effect, splashing of tools, rapidity of tools, sprinkling of tools, bridging of tools, when it gives you a 2 or 3 or 4 different lines. Breaking of tools, that means touching the tool to a surface and breaking them. Breaking them, that means taking it out on the surface, on upper level. Turning of tools, moving of tools, uplifting of tools while creating or while marking them on a surface, and rubbing of tools with a particular intensity of speed. It always gives you some or the other kind of a different effect. So these were preliminary drill lessons with cut nibs. So cut nib was the first nib that the tool that we had handled. When we had tried in our elective days, recognizability of the means they can use tools in a tools or this anything, how whatever they will aware what they are going to do with this or middle joineries have been used as a central thought. In left hand tools is a central thought which experimentation step by step methodology so that it appeared as a good and Santoshi Sagar ID.
Two of them. One is, when we read that temple flag story in your slide, I could read it and understand the essence of the story. And the typographical composition is a very good exercise for understanding, but what is the brief given to the students? After the composition is done, do you expect the audience to read and understand the essence of the story, or is it to understand the typographical composition and its beauty? That is one question. Second one is, you were mentioning about modernists and their approach towards grid. So according to you, what is modern? Because for all of us, each one of us, the concept of a modernist is different because our reference points will be different. In the context of typographical design, who is a modernist according to you? And the first thing is the perception that do we have this after the assignment, do you expect the students to come out with a composition which communicates the essence of the story, or is it to explore the possibilities of a typography composition?
Hello? No. Hello? Take it closer. Hello? Am I audible? Yeah? Okay. I would like to answer the first question first, sir, because for this particular assignment, I didn't ask the students to be legible, but legibility is most important in typography because if it's a type, it has to be read. Now, but it's very important what the students get from the assignment. They learn how to do a dynamic layout, a layout which has movement in itself, though it is in print media. But the exercise which the assignment which the student had done, I had shared that on the slide. Now the student had worked on Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis, and the layouts were made in that particular way. So she combined both the illegibility aspect and also the legibility aspect of typography in the assignment. Like the poetry what she had written was supposed to be read, and you could read it. Like I didn't share each single page, but whatever she had done, each thing could be read. So basically, it's very, very important what the students get from the assignment. For me, it was enough for that particular assignment that the students got to learn about how to create a dynamic layout. And the second thing is, you asked about modernism, and if I get it right, that you want to ask me who are the modernists. So basically, I would like to answer it in that particular way, that I think modernism, in the sense when they concentrated too much on the grids. I know grids are very important.
Very little to Professor Manasi's presentation. As he said, you know, those, I'm sure you are aware of that, those two little stories are Zen Buddhist stories.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sure.
yes, yes.
That was really interesting. All three presentations were very interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have one more question?
Good afternoon. I have a question for Mr. Huang from Hong Kong. As the presentation mentioned, I believe that certain specific typography can bring certain awareness to people, and so the Chinese characters is very diverse, is a culture with diversity, and so as you have shown that one character can be writing in different type of forms and styles, and different styles can be used for different purposes. And you also mentioned that there is certain authority or majorities demolishing those construction or buildings or certain culture that have been built from the past time. And so in what conception that is for like to save this culture or to remain this awareness, because I believe that sometimes people would feel conflict because there will be certain percentage of people who want to have this development in the city of like more changes in the culture, but there are also certain people who want to remain these traditions. And in what way that we should do to manage this conflict and to find a balanced level. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. So thank you for your questions. I think you asked the key question because it's really hard to make a balance, because the fact that the M+, one of the museum in Hong Kong, they are trying to collect some of the very unique Leon sign because they have space. So of course they would like to really collect the physical form in their museum, so that the public will be able to really see the Leon sign. But on the other hand, you have mentioned that the dangers, the Hong Kong government have to take a responsibility to warn the shop owner has to be, to fix or to repair the abandoned Leon sign. So, but a lot of shop owner, because they have to spend a lot of money to remain the old Leon sign, that they won't do it because spend a lot of money. They rather to take it off. That's it. They don't want to to maintain or renew the new one because every 2 years the government has to ask the consultants to check the Leon. So it costs a lot of money. So on my side, in this project, I think the minimum effort that we can put is document them, because it's really part of our history. So if we let them go, then definitely that will lack of one of the important part to describe our city. So that we try to protect or try to record them. That's what we are doing now. Yeah. Thank you.
I think we have time for just one more question. Okay, thank you everybody. I conclude the session 2 on typography and diversity now.
And with that, we mark the end of session 2. Now call upon Professor Kumkum Nadi to hand over the certificates of recognition to our speakers this afternoon. Brian Kwak, Mansi Ken, and Karpesh Gosal. Thank you. It was indeed a wonderful session on typography and diversity. And now we move on to our lunch break. But before we do that, let me remind you about a few things. Number one is the typo quiz will be taking place in the evening. So if anybody is interested, you can register at the help desk. Then number 2 would be this conference, Typo Day 2017 Colombo, is live streamed on YouTube under the channel name Department of Integrated Design. Department of Integrated Design, for anybody who is interested. And then there is also the conference tour to Gaul. If anybody is interested, you can register at the help desk. So you can go for the lunch break and be here by most probably 2:30 for the next session. Thank you.